Hello, welcome back to Seawolf's Den. I'm Crafting Ron. I guess you could say that I've hit the mother lode of mini rigs. I spotted something on eBay and bid on it, not thinking I would get it, but it was like 4 of them. And this is a mixture of something I've already unboxed and shown you and the ones I found. A new one of these, I can never remember their names, but I'll put them up on the screen. I've already used multiples of these, and I'm planning something for this one. Another one of these. Not really sure what I'm going to do with that. I had one of these and now I have 2. This one I've done something with and I could do another one easily. So this was from my last haul and I'm starting to work on it. This was one of the haulers that came with that new lot. And I've already taken it apart. It was broken. The landing gear was broken for this thing. So I took it apart with the intent of merging this shuttle with parts from this. I've got some guns. I've got its engines was really my focus. I'm probably going to put them on the end of the wingtips. And I've got some Warhammer 40k bits that I'm going to mount in various places. Not all of these, but you know, the ones that I think look good. These are doors from this thing. I did one of these and then redid it with the pilot. There were doors on each side of this. It was kind of like a mining huller with an open bay on each side. I think a figure would fit inside one side. But the landing gear was broke, so I really couldn't do much with it together. So I'm going to use maybe one of these landing gear for this and print some for the other side, because when this lands, it's got to have at least 3 points to hold it up. So I might be able to put this one on the front, go right there, and then put 2 more printed ones there, and then I'll have these on the end. I want to do something about the front end, and I'm looking for 40k bits or something else that would fit on the front end that might do something different. Because right now, of course, this cries miniature Star Wars shuttle. I mean, that motion alone cries miniature Star Wars shuttle. I don't know if I can do anything about that. I kind of want to preserve that because I really did like that when I saw it in Star Wars. On this end, these points are supposed to have a gun in itself, and they turn one way or the other. I'm going to probably cut these off or just use them as mount points for some of these guns. I'm not entirely sure how that's going to work out, but I'm looking into that. And I can't really do much with this. I may use this for a wreckage or a crash ship, or if I can get some old treads like on this tank. Oh, I could just get an old tank. I bet you I have something. I have something. Old dollar store tanks, and I can put it on the outside of this. Oh, now I'm thinking that way I can probably still leave these doors on, re-glue this back together. Hold up. So we might be doing two crafts here. Put these together. Okay, dollar store treads. Now they're kind of cheesy looking, but this is a tank. I took the top off for some other thing. I could cut this. That's going to happen. Just cut it here and here, and then mount it along these sides. I may have to cut a place for it to be. Yep. All right, we're gonna make that happen. That's the plan. Until next time. All right, we're back with the new mini rig project. It's funny how I start out with the intent on working on one, and then in the middle of it, I got the idea for the other. So I wanted to see if I could do it with this dollar store tank tread. I did finally cut them because I still have these apart. I went ahead and just did one side at a time. I think that looks pretty good to start with. It is relatively level or flat. I mean, it'll work. So I dremeled enough of this plastic on the on the mini rig to create a location for the tread that will fit. And then for support, I drilled a hole through the mini rig, put these sticks on them. Now those will end up inside the hole. So after the glue's cured, I'm just going to go ahead and cut those. Paint will cover up those, but that's there for support of this because there's just not enough material in there. And I put just some plastic in there. I also need fill in that gap with something. Additionally, I took one of these, again, a dollar store toy, I guess it's a generator or a tank for fuel, whatever. It was part of the Army Matchbox car stuff, but they don't even have anymore. Broke off the top piece off one, cut it in half, and that's going to cover up this hole. And my plan is to put that down there and maybe put a gun off this. This hole here on the mini rig had a gun in it, and I popped it out with the intent on using it somewhere else, but I'll put it back. I'm probably going to put it back. So I want to go ahead and do the other side of this. And now I'll work on the shuttle and add the engines to the wing. All right. I like that. So, till next time. Okay, we're back. Both have been worked on. A couple things. What I'm going to do, I've printed some landing gear. Now, yeah, it's too many. I printed 6. I only need 3. We have a 3-point landing gear here and there. Just have to drill into the bottom and give these a hole and glue them in. And then it will sit like that. And the next steps would be to start with some guns. I'm liking that. Now this one I'm still working with. I put in some 40K bits to cover up some of the damage from the dremeling. You might see some modeling putty all over it. Well, I filled in some holes, some cracks. When I tore it apart, this gap wouldn't completely close. So I put some putty into the holes on the bottom. All of this should cover up with paint. Still haven't decided if I'm going to cover this gap up yet. I I may not. I may just leave it. Put the guns back on. Plan is, see, I took one of these, a Final Faction cannon, cut it in half, or cut it in thirds, because I want to mount these on the side here. And I want to build these out a little bit, which is what I'm going to do right now. I don't like that. It's kind of big, and so I'm going to put gun ends. I'm just going to cut up some other Final Faction stuff and see what they look like. I never will use these otherwise, just way out of scale. So just trying to make these things look better, and I'm already not liking that one. I may have to print something to fit on the end of this. Okay, so that's that. Let's go ahead and do the landing gear for this one. Oh, back heavy. I should have known that. My mistake. All right, so with that, let's clean up a mess here. I think those work there. And I'll mount these here. Okay, looking good so far. Until next time. Further on the shuttle fighter interceptor guy, I have this old World War II tail fin, World War II plane model part that had left over from, I don't know, a model I'd done that fell apart. Used with the help of the bandsaw and the Dremel here, I cut it in such a way that it'll fit perfectly over this thing. Rather than putting a gun on it, why not put a fin? So it fits perfect, or just about perfect. Just about. I like it. Of course, paint will make a big difference. How do I get that to stay? Let's take the canopy off because I don't want to get glue on that. I just need to get a support for this. Piece of scrap. I'm gonna let that glue in there, and then when I'll mount it afterwards. So okay, Till next time. Got quite a mess on my crafting table. I'm doing a couple things. One, I've mounted some missiles on this. I'm going to go ahead and glue some 40K missiles to stack them there. But this is nearly complete. I'm going to have to prime it and paint it. I got to take the glass out. There's a glass back here that I'm going to have to cover up. We'll leave that as is for now. What I'm working on is the tank. I made a gun for the side, and I'm going to do it again because I'm going to need this for the other one. Drilled a hole in the middle of this one, put a sprue up inside, got a sprue right here. It's a little sprue from 40K bits, and I'm just going to slide it right in there, and then that's going to sit right, and that's a pretty good gun. I like that. This one I cut off of here. I've got my trusty drill and a small enough drill bit. What I got laying around here is some other parts. What I want to do is cover up these two sections with something. So I've got multiple options. Think about taking this. This is a piece of extra. This is a point in the project where things kind of went off the rails. I decided to use some parts to create covers for those openings on the tank, and I was a little too ambitious, or my vision was just not quite right. These parts were just too big. I also wanted to use 40K parts for a hatch, and I did end up using that, but much of this work ended up getting thrown in the trash because it just didn't work for me. Back with the new Mini-Rig builds. The shuttle, which I've got the canopy out there primed, and so I've added more missiles. I covered up the initial holes I made with beads to make it look like kind of jets. And I just saw something I may need to change, may need to work on. The cockpit itself is not really showing me the scale that I want, so I may do something in there. But the thing I started working on is the back end, and I got one of these. It's a 40K bit, which I don't even know where it comes from because I don't know 40K at all. And they're just a means to an end to me. I cut it up with the intent of putting it on the back, with this being the door, and this I'm thinking about putting on the engines, but that just seems long, but I still may do it. This doesn't quite fit. Almost does, and I'm going to clean it up a little bit. I want to put it in the back to kind of give it, to scale it, but these screw holes are getting in the way. If I put it upside down, it basically looks upside down to me. So I'm going to have to do a couple things. Secondly, I'm guessing these are the actual engines of the toy. With them sitting behind them, it kind of looks like this door was laid on top. So I got to cover that up with something so that it's not so obvious that I just laid them on top. The tank was kind of a disaster. The initial parts I made were disastrous with these Star Wars. It was not good. It was just too big, and this cardboard insert was not what I wanted. It just was too obvious. So I used some polystyrene plastic to cover up this end. It does not flip. I've tried every which way to kind of come up with a way to do that, and it doesn't work. So I put the hatch thing that I designed to put on the cover, and then cut one of those pieces just a little bit and just fit it on top. Still opens up. I'm going to leave the back open for a squad. I think a squad could fit in there. I mean, not a squad of miniatures because the bases are so wide, but a squad of soldiers would be able to fit in there. I was thinking about putting a gun, like just a manned gun on here, but nah, we got plenty here. A little overkill. I think these two are enough. These glued pretty good. Got a little bit of a droop, but I'm still happy with the way. I like the profile, or at least the top profile. I like the way that looks. I'm spray painting this a couple of colors. I may start with army green. If I still have some, I may have to make an order. And then I think I'm going to do kind of a gray with green camouflage on top of here. But I think overall it came together once you painted it. It looks like patchwork. I did fill in these gaps with a final faction piece that worked better. I like the way that looks, and I'll just get that painted and get a finished product on that one. This one's still got some work to do. Try something. All I gotta do is have something that will hold it other than just the edges. Just like reinforcing it so that it's like they come off. Kind of like that. I'm going to try to cover up those two holes with some poly. Okay, until next time. Okay, I did a little work off camera, and really because I didn't know if it was going to do any good. So I took a bunch of 40K bits and a Final Faction bit and made, and this is the dollar store tank part that I used for the other tank. It's the base to that tank. And so now I cut it up, put some bits on it, and now kind of, sort of, I mean, I think it does. Looks like a pilot chair. Real complex pilot chair, and it looks a little cramped. I'm not entirely sure where he put his legs, but it fits down in here perfectly. So now, I mean, it's just another step of scaling it. Like adding this door drops the scale to it. Adding a chair drops the scale to it. And those are the kind of parts I look for all the time when I'm looking for 40K parts. For some reason now, the 40K parts are much more expensive, so I'm not buying as many as I used to. So that's kind of why I'm glad I have 3D printing. Eventually, I'm just going to start 3D printing parts like that. All right, here they are painted. I went with a gloss black and red trimmings on this one. I know that makes it look more Star Wars than ever before, but I liked it. Favorite parts are the cockpit. Those were just random parts that fit together to make it look somewhat like a cockpit. I was good with that. And then the rear door works for me. You can imagine a squad of minis popping out the back of that. So that was the main thing I started working on, and this one I made up as I went along. I went with a army green and then a little camouflage work with some hunter green, poked some holes in some paper and just dabbed it on there. Real happy with the dollar store treads. I think those look good.
probably could use a wash and dry brush, and I may do that. There's some places I can touch up too. I'm pretty happy with these. These are table ready as far as I'm concerned. You can just place this down in any kind of RPG encounter, sci-fi RPG encounter. Always fun when we can drop down something eye-popping like this. So hope you like and follow, and until next time, seek the wolf in thyself. A little bonus footage. I got these stands. They're supposed to be doll stands from an online Amazon leftover or return auction. Got about 6 of them, and I decided to mount my visitor's ship that I printed and painted onto one, and now I have a flying ship. Now I had to put a little bit of a weight at the bottom. Now my 80s game's got a flying one.